We're going to partner with some schools coming up here soon. And we've been talking to several career services departments. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. Also, when you're in college, the people you hang around will also be the people that you kind of grow with. So if your group, they're at the library, they're going to these functions, they're going to say, hey, you going to that function? Versus people who are not going the same way you are. So let me say that. Your group is definitely somebody years down the line. I have friends that I actually just met with this past weekend, and we talked about what we're doing. And certain people want to move across the state or move to Atlanta. They're like, can you help me? Of course. Mm-hmm. We went to college together, went to high school together, and I haven't seen them in years, but we met up this weekend at this nice little event. But things like that, the people you hang around now will be the people who kind of shape where you're going. So please, I would definitely say, hey, are you going to this event? Are you going to this job fair? Are you going to this? Because they still have those on campuses, like you said, sometimes virtually. But that'll definitely help. A lot of people do not utilize student services.
They don't. They don't. And and they should. They definitely should. And not only doing those partnerships or, getting out there and participating in those events that your career services department may do, but also get to know your professors. They're professionals. So you never know who someone knows. So make sure that you're keeping a great rapport with your professors, or even the professors that may not be your teacher or your professor. You want to get to know everybody. Another thing is you want to be mindful how you treat people, whether they are a freshman or a sophomore or senior. You want to be very mindful, because once you graduate, you never know where that person is going to lead to. And that person could have a very successful business, and maybe you are into marketing and want to be marketing director, and that person may need a marketing director, but guess what? They're going to remember you. So always be mindful how you treat people, because it all starts with networking.
Definitely. A lot of people came out, graduated during the pandemic, or are coming out now, and I just want them to be able to see that there is hope. Please use that, and please use something called Handshake. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for internships or you're looking for employment, Handshake, you can go on there, and there's a lot of different people who've already posted to your campus.
Yes, and believe it or not, where some companies are struggling to find the perfect match, we have VPs who are willing to take the time to coach individuals who are getting fresh out of college. Yes. And where do they go? They go on Handshake and they post those jobs. Look at those jobs that are posted in Handshake and apply. You can definitely benefit from it, whether it's an internship or not, because an internship can actually lead to a permanent position.
If you do a good
if you're great, yeah.
If you're great, it would definitely lead to another job. But Handshake not only has stuff for internships and people fresh out, there's a new feature. It's up to 10 years out that you can still go to your school and see what things have been posted to your specific area of your school. So definitely look at Handshake. I use it often for trying to find what I'm looking for. So just so you know, Handshake is another tool that you guys definitely should be using.
I use it as well. Definitely across the board.
This is another question I've been getting. What are some of the obstacles to securing employment during a pandemic? Like, what do you see as the obstacle?
What are some obstacles that candidates can face when trying to get an employment? Same as, face-to-face, not showing up on time. You have to definitely show up on time. If it's in a virtual setting, you have to get comfortable. Let me just rewind just a little bit. As I mentioned before, we are moving into a virtual world, right? So you definitely want to get comfortable in front of the camera. So if you just got to sit up there in front of the camera and talk to yourself and just see how you look, make sure your camera is right, your lighting is right. Are you smiling? Record yourself, know how you're speaking. You want to practice if you are one of those people who are extremely afraid to get in front of the camera or very uncomfortable with doing a virtual interview. You want to make sure you practice there, because I would say that would be an obstacle for some people. Some people lose out on opportunities because they do not want to be on video at all. They'll prefer either a face-to-face or maybe a phone interview. So I would say that was one of the biggest ones I've seen from people who are coming from working in the field to now working from home. And those who have worked from home or worked in the office, they're comfortable and used to doing video and virtual interviews or meetings. So they're pretty comfortable. But those who have never done it, have no experience, do not know what they're doing. Sometimes they can wait until the last minute. Your interview is at 5 o'clock and you're trying to download Zoom on your phone at 5 o'clock. It's now 5:10. You don't miss the opportunity. You have to make sure that you understand and know what platforms organizations are using. So when they're going to set up your meeting, you want to ask them, what platform are we using? Are you using Zoom, Teams, Google Meets? What should I be prepared for? And once they tell you, go ahead and download that either on your phone or your computer or your laptop. I always say use a computer because you should have a quiet area, especially if you want to work from home. That way you have the freedom to also write, and then you don't have to worry about someone calling you on your phone while you're in the middle of an interview and it's showing you as pause. So now the interviewer has to pause what they're doing because now we're talking on the phone. But sometimes that's all that people can have, so we completely understand. Just make sure that you set yourself up for success in any other area. And maybe you can put your phone on Do Not Disturb. That way you don't also get those phone calls on your interview.
Okay, so when you go into an interview face-to-face, you're on their turf, but now they're kind of in your turf. So look at my background, you look at LaToya's background. These are pretty good. I would say please ask, like you said, if it'll be video. Because unfortunately, me and LaToya had people come on topless to interviews. They forgot, they saw the phone interview and they just clicked, and we can see everything.
Yeah, topless, they're either eating noodles. I can see you either laying in the bed with their phone up trying to talk to me, and I'm like, do we need to reschedule this? But, it's a game now, because right now it is an employee market. And I tell everybody it's an employee market, so don't settle because company need you. They need you. They need your help. It is no longer an employer market. So you just gotta, you really, 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 really gotta be mindful. You have to be mindful in what you do.
We say all the time that we're your advocate as the recruiter. I can't send you in good faith knowing what you did was really unprofessional when we talked. And I'm going to put my name behind you. Everybody I send to a hiring manager, that's like saying I put my name behind it. I can't put my name behind you if you did something on our conversation. So always keep that in mind. Always know your background. One thing we didn't talk about, and I want to bring this up, is vaccination.
Okay.
I work from home and I still get asked about my vaccination. I don't go into offices. I have worked from home since like 2008. I am fully vaccinated, but I get asked my vaccination card and I'm not going on site. So I would say if somebody has a problem with getting vaccinated for any reason, I'm not here to tell you one way or the other, have your exemption already together and have it ready to give, because the vaccination question is coming up.
For some employers are no longer requiring it now. Some still are. So like in a retail space, right? They're now taking a look at it because their stores are hurting. Their stores are getting ready to shut down because they don't have enough people to run a store because half of those people don't want to get vaccinated. And then the other half that are working there are vaccinated. And then of course, they do the testing every time you come in to make sure that, you're okay or you're healthy or whatever. But a lot of companies right now are reevaluating that because they're hurting, right? So that's when it also comes into like, it is an employee market. You got to know your market. You got to know the industry that you're going to go into. Right now, IT is like up there. And so many companies are struggling to find IT people because people want breaks. They're having a hard time finding recruiters. They're having a hard time finding HR leaders for different organizations because right now people are taking breaks. They're taking like 3 months off, 6 months off. Some people don't even want full-time jobs anymore. They just want a contract position so they can work a little bit and then take off whenever they want to. So it's definitely in your favor, but again, you just have to also be mindful, like you said, people coming up there, in their bed and they're trying to interview. They might come up there and not have a shirt on and trying to do an interview. You just got to be very, very, very mindful of what you're doing because it's still important enough, even though it's an employee market, it is still important that you know how to sell yourself because the company is going to sell themselves to you on what we offer. And a lot of companies are adding unlimited PTO. They're doing so many different perks to make you happy, to help them, but yet they also want to make sure they're hiring the right person. So even if they are hurting within that department, they still might not hire you based off of how you present yourself. So also be mindful of that. You want to also be able to still sell yourself, because then again, they can be looking at different opportunities for you as well. Oh, they applied for, a junior recruiter role, but I have a recruiting lead that I think that they might be excellent for. So let me go ahead and push them for that role instead of a junior recruiter, because you're looking for an opportunity working from home.
So that's the other thing. Just always remember, just because you don't get that job, recruiters remember two things, really: good interviews or really terrible interviews. We never talk about the okay interviews, right? So if you do an excellent interview, but there's been several times we call them gold medalists, we call them silver medalists. This is what we call candidates. In case the gold medalist doesn't want it, we'll give it to a silver medalist. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 gold medalist candidates.
Right.
We keep you on file. And as soon as another job comes up, already have somebody, already interviewed, they interview with such and such and such and such, they did all of this. This is who you should look at.
Right.
And they'll look at us and say, okay, because they want to, when a job is open, what people don't realize sometimes, when a job is open, that means somebody is doing double the work. A lot of the time it's the manager. So they want to get those closed as soon as possible. I have 2 or 3 good, which I'm going through right now. I had 2 great candidates. One accepted the offer. I had another position open. I said, look, this is all the information. I already interviewed them. I have the notes, the resume. I had everything ready. He was like, thank you so much. I've been working 12, 13-hour shifts.
Wow.
Because he had to take that on. So just because you do not get the job, I know it can be discouraging. I have been discouraged, but I've also gotten those calls back a couple weeks, a couple months, even years later. I remembered interviewing you. Can you interview for such and such? Because they remember excellent candidates.
And just like, people trying to find jobs during the pandemic, there's so many opportunities out there, believe it or not. And if the field that you're in, you're noticing that there's not a lot of opportunities of what you're looking for, because what I'm always hearing is that, I want to get out the field. I want to work from home. I want to be, have that work-life balance. I want to be with my family. But then you also have some that's like, I want a hybrid. I don't want to be in a house 24/7. I don't want to go into the office at least 3 or 2 days out of the week. The opportunities are out there. And in order to get those opportunities, if it's not in your field, it's to grow those skills. So how do you do that? Like participate in different, again, those events, maybe take a course, maybe watch a webinar, maybe get a certification in something, especially if you're looking to go into IT. Again, that is one of big industry right now that is like booming, and companies definitely need it. I guarantee you, if you go into an employee's website right now, look up a startup company and look at how many IT openings they have.
IT, everybody's going virtual. They were going virtual before, but it was slower.
Right.
At this point, IT actually has negative unemployment, which means most IT professionals have 2 and 3 jobs. That's what I've never heard of negative unemployment anywhere outside of IT. And now it's even worse than it was 5-10 years ago.
They're needed, and they're taking that time off, and which is perfectly fine, to each his own. But I'm thinking on the employer side, how much they will benefit that company, and what can the company offer to entice them to want to join their organization full time. But they can only companies have raised their rates. People are working 1 job when making the salary when they hit 2 jobs.
Yep.
It all depends on the industry. That's why I say research. You have to research. There's some entry-level jobs out there making really great money, but you got to research. And if you are in North Carolina and you want to work in California, you might get that California rate. But a lot of people don't know that because they don't take the time to research. They don't take the time to apply. They don't take the time to ask questions, and they don't take the time to get to know people. And reach out to those CEOs, those founders of startup organizations. Reach out to them, network with them, get to know them, especially with the sponsors that they have, because so many startup organizations have $1 million investments, so they can definitely afford you.
That part right there, I call it know your worth for that reason. You have to have a limit of what you want to go beneath. You just can't. So no, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you so much. Tell us how we can find you and what you have coming up.
Yeah, so you can find me on across the board on all social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Global Placement Services. You can email me at info@globalplacementservice, not an S on the end, .com. You can also inbox me on any social media platforms if you have any questions, if you need career development help, if you need interviewing techniques, if you need resume help, you can definitely reach out to me. Again, we're still working on that recruiting academy. It is almost finished. We are looking to have that go live in either Q3 or Q4 of this year. So you can definitely reach out to me. We can definitely put you on a waiting list for that, for those who are interested in going into the HR field. And what I have coming up is another podcast that's going to come out the first week of next month. I don't have the topic yet, but it'll be coming out soon.
You can find me at FYPM_staffing across all social media. If you're not following LaToya, please follow her. She has some really, really good tips. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.